The new Lady Vols head coach Kim Caldwell was just introduced here in Knoxville as the fourth ever Lady Vols head coach in the NCAA era of women's basketball. I'm Ryan Sylvia with VolReport on Rivals.com, and let's talk about kind of those opening statements from her and her getting to kind of get this tenure started here at Tennessee. First things first, Danny White takes the podium, gives his thoughts. Something of note, he says no stone was unturned throughout this search. It's like if you can think of someone that would have been in the running for this job, the call was made, and then ultimately they did decide that Kim Caldwell was best for this job. He talked about how those interviews throughout the process stood out, and that hers kind of stood out well above the others, and that was a big deal. Candace Parker was a name that he threw out there in terms of people they've reached out to. Like he really wanted to emphasize everyone was called. They felt like this was the best fit for Tennessee going forward, and a big reason for that is the style of play that she brings to the table. Right, high-paced offense, likened it to Josh Heupel's football team, saying if you like the scoring that's going on in Neyland Stadium, and you like what's about to happen at Food City Center with this Lady Vols team, an aggressive defense that forces turnovers. So then Kim Caldwell is in turn asked, do you think this translates to the SEC? And she quickly was like, yeah, I do. There didn't seem to be any worry. She said, if I wouldn't be here right now, I wouldn't be taking this job if I had any worry about that. So a lot of confidence in her. Something else that stood out, though, was Danny White talking about how this isn't necessarily like a rebuild. There's an expectation to win right now. In their first season, they still want to be competitive. They want to get back to competing for SEC national championships, and the expectation isn't 3 to 4 or 5 years down the road. It's immediately. You want to see at least a step in the right direction and be a competitive team this year. She was asked about kind of the steps to making that happen. Part of that is retaining some of the players on the team right now. Jewel Spear has another year of eligibility. She previously said that she wanted to come back before the coaching change, said that she met with the media as well, said that she'll have another meeting with Kim and kind of finalize that decision if she wants to re-enter the transfer portal or stick with the Lady Vols. So that's the type of player that she's going to need to create a relationship with and retain going forward. Then also talked about how she had to do it at Marshall less than a year ago, right? She spent 1 year at Marshall after being at a Division II program, and she was at a press conference similar to this a year ago, getting introduced, and turned that team into 17-1 Sun Belt play, regular season and tournament champions, second ever NCAA tournament appearance, broke records for Marshall women's basketball. And that type of experience can lend itself to success a year down the road with Tennessee. In terms of recruiting, she talked about the differences between recruiting at a school like Marshall and recruiting at a school like Tennessee. She said, at Marshall, not everyone necessarily picked up their phone when you gave them a call because it's not at the prestige that Tennessee's at. So that's something that jumps off right away. She's at least able to get in contact with them. She hasn't had to recruit, though, at this level. She's been at D2. She was at a lower D1 and only there for a year, so didn't really have to build a recruiting class necessarily. So that'll be interesting to see what she's able to do, but I guess that's a good start when they're all accepting your calls now. Finally, Pat Summitt, obviously one of the most historic programs in the country here in Knoxville with the Lady Vols. So I thought her words on Pat Summitt were very well said. She said, I'm not going to be Pat Summitt. No one can be Pat Summitt. That's a legend, obviously, and it's impossible to live up to those expectations. The difference is she wants to be someone that Pat Summitt would kind of have respect for, would make Pat Summitt proud every day, hear that she's the Tennessee head coach, and I think that's kind of the right step to take. You're not going to be Pat Summitt, but you can take the steps to kind of live in her legacy, I guess, and try to continue what she built in the right way, and that seems like what she wants to do. She said she's got a lot to learn about the Lady Vols history, but one thing she doesn't need to learn too much more about, because she's already familiar with it, is the legacy of Pat Summitt. So speaking on that, though, too, Danny White talked about LVFL versus someone that doesn't have prior connections. He said it didn't really matter. LVFL's right for the job, cool. If it's someone outside the program that's right for the job, cool. Either way, they just want to get the right person for the job. But I do think it's important to find someone that has at least some respect for what's been built here with the Lady Vols program. That'll do it all, though. We'll have more content, more in-depth stuff over at VolReport.com. Links to that are in the description. Football, orange and white game coming up on Saturday, so we're putting the final touches of spring practice and then they're going to take the field over in Neyland, and we'll have coverage of that. Baseball's got a midweek game tonight. LSU this weekend, defending national champion, so that'll be interesting to watch. And then men's basketball, you got 3 guys in the portal: Freddie DeLeon, Tobe Waka just added his name, DJ Jefferson yesterday. So news all across Tennessee athletics. If you want it all in one place, VolReport.com is the place to go. Links to everything news in the description. Thanks for watching.